Hello, hello. I am thinking real hard on things this morning, as I tend to do in the mornings. I am in a bit of a rut, if you will, in a bit of a creative mongoloid. I don't even know if that's a word, but the idea is the fact that just constantly chasing that success and trying to hope that it comes in time, and facing the realities of my shortcomings. I am a homebodied person, and if left to my own devices, I would just stay at home. And I think it is very challenging to succeed in this world as someone who creates things and to essentially do that from home. That's what I've been asking of myself, is to succeed creatively from home. And that's a very difficult thing to do. It's not an ideal thing to do by any means. And I'm beginning to wonder if it is as doable as I might think, because in the reality of things, I think the answer is no. And it's the wonders of the internet that it gives you the illusion that you can succeed in this world from your couch. And in some cases, I'm sure you can. But in some cases, good old-fashioned in-person marketing still probably plays a great deal of I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it has a great deal to do with your success. It's at this point the only thing that I'm not doing that I feel like maybe I could be doing that might make a difference. And it's all very difficult. I have a very demanding job, and to go from a demanding job to immediately trying to do something creatively as well is oftentimes exhausting. And it is the effort that has to be made to create the things that we want to create. But creation is one thing. You have to find a way to get people to find your creation, to get people behind what you're creating. It's very difficult to do that. And we have a finite amount of time that we can devote to these things. And that's why the more and more I think about it, the more and more I want to remove myself from the working world, or at least from the full-time working world, because if I had more time to devote to these things, then I would be more successful, or at least that's how I picture it. It is also important to know that, like, I have had multiple instances of having large sections of time off only to ultimately be completely and utterly unproductive. And so it goes both ways. I can use my limited amount of time as a motivator to kind of kick me in the pants and get me going, but I can also use my limited amount of time, or I could also use my excessive amount of time to have more time to get going and to do things. Ultimately, I think that the end goal here, the thing that we're all working towards, obviously no one journey is going to be identical to the next or to the last, and that's something that's important to understand. But putting all the effort you can into it is also important. But I think the desperation of needing to succeed is what propels people to succeed. I have grown comfortable in my life. I've grown into a job that pays me quite well, and I am finding, as I'm nearing my 30s, that I'm afraid that I'm just going to settle into that existence and that I'm never going to do anything greater or better than whatever it is I accomplish at work. And that, for someone as creative as myself, is a frightening thought. I've written and published 7 books now, but how do I get to a place where people can see, appreciate, and hopefully give those books a chance? And I talk about local events a lot. I need to network, I need to branch out, I need to spread my wings and do more of that, because realistically speaking, it's just sitting at work for 8 hours and then sitting at home and creating things for another 4 to 6 hours is not, it's productive work. And that's the frustrating thing, is I need to have time to write. If I don't have time to write, then I have nothing to promote. But at the same time, if I'm not promoting myself, then the things that I'm writing do not get read. And like I said, it's a whole back and forth struggle to be seen and to be known and all of these things, and hoping that I can be noticed and seen, and really anything is the goal here. And I maybe need to take that a bit more seriously this coming year, and hopefully start to stand out and start to get noticed. I don't know how to go about promoting Compression Man. I have ideas, but I'm not entirely sure that I can do any of them. And I need to start also becoming a bigger member of the community, so that when people see me around, they're like, oh, I know that guy. And so it is not easy. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it, and I realize that. But I think I've fallen victim to the idea of things being easier than they need to be. And maybe I'm also being too harsh on myself, because I've only been in my house maybe 3 years now, and so prior to me being in the house, I was building the house. That was my big goal, and I accomplished a lot in building my own house. And I hope that those accomplishments stick, and I'm sure they will. But the reality of it is, I've built my own house, and now I'm ready to move on to the next thing. And have I really seriously been pursuing this for the 3 years that I've been living in the house? Probably not. The first year was getting used to being on my own, because I'd never been on my own before. The second year was trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do, because for the longest time I also worked 2 jobs, and this is the first time that I've not had a second job. And it's interesting, I was watching a video on Tom Holland, and he was on this podcast and had a lot of interesting things to say. And one of the things he said that I really jived with, he's like, I'm really good at doing the work when someone puts the work in front of me, but if I'm responsible for coming up with the work, then I'm not so good at doing it. And I feel like I can resonate with that. And I keep thinking about getting a gig with these people as an editor. I keep getting advertisements on Reddit for people who are trying to hire editors. And I keep thinking about doing it, not necessarily for the money, because I don't need it, nor do I think that it's really worth my time, but just because it gives me something to do and some productive way to go about incorporating video editing into my regular scheduled programming. Somebody posted something on Instagram asking for a video editor, and I applied for it, and they essentially they were not open to DMs from people who they're not following, which seems really silly. Like, why do you put out a request for an editor only to be blocking most of your DMs? But at any rate, I would have probably done the project with him had he have actually wanted to go that route. But unfortunately, I reached out and he didn't have any I didn't have any way to get a hold of him. So at any rate, we'll see what the future holds. This year it was a great big ol' experiment. I was doing 24/365, really hoping that it would turn a new leaf, gain me some sort of following, but that has not happened. And I largely understand why. Like, I'm not going to be able to just convert the world. This isn't the kind of content that people inherently care about. Like, if I can't entice people to read a book, I certainly can't entice them to watch uninteresting content. And so that will be the goal next year for me, is to make the content interesting, to make people interested. And we'll see where we go from there. I've been doubling down on Life is Strange content here because Life is Strange is relevant again. But even with it in as high a relevancy as it is, I've not really got a whole lot of attention for it. And that's upsetting. To pivot to something that's relevant that I've covered before in the past, only to ultimately be ignored, it's appalling, really. And so, I don't know. I hope that I can find something that works for me and that provides me a space. The independent animation scene on YouTube is very lively, very active. There's a lot going on. And a lot of the people just within the review space of that community have tons of followers. And I don't understand why my content has such a hard time standing out. And part of it is I'm worried that I've ruined myself for the future with having only where am I going with this? I've ruined myself with the future by using a paid promotion through YouTube. Like, I wouldn't think that YouTube's own paid promotion would screw me over like that, but it has killed my retention on Compression Man. And even the Compression Man episodes that I don't advertise don't have the greatest bit of retention. And so it's like, it's a 5-minute short. I can't even get people to watch 5 minutes of it. And one thing that I have learned recently that maybe is affecting it is the fact that there's apparently a large community of people on YouTube who are watching videos at a faster speed than normal. And because studies have shown that you can watch content, you can watch up to 900 more videos in your lifetime if you watch them all at double speed, which is a weird thing to strive for from my perspective. Like, why is that somebody's goal, to be able to watch as much content as they possibly can? But realistically speaking, that's the goal. And so then the question becomes, what are we doing? What's going on? And how do we go about doing these things and getting these things going? And realistically speaking, I don't know. I don't know that I know, and I don't know that I care to know. All I know is I guess I just gotta keep trying things until eventually the world catches on. And I say this all the time, I don't need millions of followers. I really just want enough followers to confidently be able to live my life off of my creative platforms, and to not have to work for a living, because working for a living is the pits. And maybe I could go part-time benefit eligible just for the sake of keeping my benefits, but only working 30 hours instead of all of the hours that I work, 80, 40. And yeah, I'm only decreasing my hours by so much, but that would be what I would be interested in doing. And I would hope that maybe I could do like, 8, 16, 24? No, because 3 8s and a 4 is weird. Because I still have to come to work 4 days. So do I come to work for 6 hours, 4 days? Or do I come to work for 8 hours, 3 days, and 4 hours, 1? I don't know. But cross that bridge when we come to it. Because the ultimate goal here is to not be working. It would be counterproductive for me to work this hard to not have to work, only to continue to have to work. So I don't know. It's very difficult, but it is where we are and what we're doing. And I hope that I can find my way eventually. I thank you all for stopping by, and we'll see what happens next time.